So question 3, it's not a mystery for all of us, but it's kind of mysterious for some of us right now. We don't quite understand this yet. But what we have here is we have a function, and we are told what the output of this function is. In other words, when I put some value x into the function f of x, it produces an output of 42. 42 comes into it. I want to know what value of x produces this output of 42. So what I'm doing is I'm going to write the rule for the function, which is 3 times the quantity of 2x plus 5 and then minus 6. That rule has to produce a value of 42. So this is the equation that I need to solve to figure out which value of x produces this particular output. So the distributive property here, this becomes 6x plus 15 minus 6 is 42. When I combine the 6 times x, when I combine the positive 15 and the negative 6, we get positive 9. So this is 6 times x plus 9 equals 42. What I need to do now is carefully subtract 9 rather from each side. When I do that, I get that 6 times x and then subtract 9 from the other side would equal 33. And then finally, if I divide both sides by 6, I get that x is 33 sixths. And that's fine if you write that down and leave it as the answer. It turns out that both of those are divisible by 3. There's a giant 1 there, so you can rewrite this dividing both by 3 as 11 halves, right? So this is 11 halves is the answer for A. And because this is an open calculator exam, I highly recommend taking and using your TI-84, entering 3 and then open parentheses 2 and then put 2 times 11 divided by 2 plus 5, close the parentheses and then subtract 6, and verifying that you do indeed get 42. This next one is it's in some ways it's a little soon for this problem. We'll be looking at more of this, but what we'll talk about increasingly is this technique that we'll call looking inside. If I look at this 2x here, I know that if I take the square root of that, right? I don't know what 2x is, but if I take the square root of some number and get an answer of 10, I know that this thing inside the radical has to be equal to 100, because it is true that the square root of 100 is 10. Those are equivalent to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this 2x and say, look, I need to make you 100. And if I make you 100, I've got this. Well, it's relatively easy to solve that, right? Divide both sides by 2, and we get that x has to be 50. So if I plug that in, 2 times 50 is 100, and the square root of 100 is 10. So that definitely is the correct input value that produces an output of 50. So this one we're going to place 50 as our answer. Let's move on to 4.